Welcome back, movie lovers. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of European cinema with 10 intriguing facts that might surprise you. Europe has long fascinated historians, travelers, and thinkers because it defies simple definition. Technically, the second smallest continent by area only, Oceania, is smaller. It nevertheless wields a cultural, economic, and political influence that belies its size. Stretching from the icy Arctic Ocean in the north to the sun-baked shores of the Mediterranean in the south, and from the storm-swept Atlantic coast to the vast steppes that merge with Asia, Europe is less a single landmass than a mosaic of peninsulas, islands, and mountain ranges. This irregular geography has shaped its history as surely as any king or invention. When people speak of Europe, they may mean different things. Geographers mark its eastern boundary along the Ural Mountains and the Caspian Sea, while political scientists might focus on the 27 countries of the European Union or the 46 members of the Council of Europe. For travelers, Europe might simply be the network of cities Paris, Rome, Prague, Stockholm linked by high-speed trains and low-cost flights. Each definition is valid in its context, yet none captures the continent's full complexity. Europe's story is one of continual interaction and reinvention. Over millennia, waves of migration from prehistoric hunter-gatherers to modern immigrants have layered cultures upon cultures. Celts, Greeks, Romans, Germanic tribes, Slavs, Moors, and countless others left linguistic, architectural, and culinary traces that remain visible today. Great empires rose and fell. The Roman Empire, the Byzantine Empire, the Ottoman Empire, and the far-flung colonial powers of Spain, Portugal, Britain, France, and the Netherlands. Each expansion brought both exchange and conflict, enriching Europe's cultural tapestry while sometimes sowing discord that echoes into the present. Ideas have traveled across Europe with as much vigor as armies. Ancient Greek philosophy, Roman law, Christian theology, Islamic scholarship, Renaissance humanism, and Enlightenment rationalism all found fertile ground here. These intellectual currents did more than shape Europe. They reshaped the world, influencing the founding principles of modern democracies, the methods of scientific inquiry, and the very notion of human rights. Yet Europe is not merely a museum of past glories. It remains a living laboratory for political and social experimentation. The continent that once fractured into hundreds of warring states now hosts the European Union, a bold if imperfect attempt at supranational governance. Cities like Berlin, Copenhagen, and Barcelona are renowned for sustainable urban design and technological innovation. From avant-garde art collectives in Vienna to cutting-edge biotech firms in the Netherlands, Europe continues to generate ideas that reverberate far beyond its, of course, challenges abound. Demographic shifts, economic inequality, the legacies of colonialism, and the pressures of migration all test Europe's social fabric. Climate change threatens coastal cities and alpine ecosystems alike. Political debates over sovereignty and integration reveal that the European project is still evolving. But such tensions are not new. They are part of a long tradition of negotiation between unity and diversity that has defined Europe since antiquity. This essay explores 10 broad facts that together paint a panoramic portrait of the continent. They range from Europe's astonishing geographic variety to its pivotal role in philosophy, science, industry, and global affairs. Each fact is examined in depth, weaving history with contemporary relevance to show how Europe's past informs its present and future. Rather than offering a simple list of trivia, the following chapters aim to reveal the connections between landscape and culture, conflict and cooperation, tradition and innovation. Whether you are a student seeking a thorough overview, a traveler preparing to explore Europe's cities and countryside, or a curious reader eager to understand how a relatively small continent can exert such global influence, these 10 facets will provide a comprehensive and nuanced introduction. In tracing Europe's journey from the Ice Age hunters, who first roamed its plains, to the digital entrepreneurs of today, we gain insight not only into a continent, but also into the shared human story of adaptation, creativity, and resilience. Here are 10 facts about Europe. 1. Europe is a continent of remarkable geographic diversity. Europe covers just over 10 million square kilometers, only about 7% of the planet's land area, yet it contains a dizzying variety of landscapes. From the Arctic tundra of Svalbard and northern Norway to the subtropical coasts of southern Spain and Greece, Europe offers nearly every major biome found on Earth. The continent stretches from the Atlantic shores of Portugal to the Ural Mountains of Russia, a journey of more than 5,000 kilometers. Its rivers are equally diverse. The Danube, flowing through 10 countries, is a crucial artery for commerce and culture, while the Rhine, Seine, Thames, and Volga have each shaped the cities and civilizations on their banks. Mountain ranges like the Alps, the Carpathians, and the Pyrenees influence weather patterns and human settlement. This geographical variety has historically encouraged cultural exchange because natural barriers are often relatively narrow passes rather than impassable deserts or oceans. Europe's peninsulas, Scandinavian, Iberian, Balkan, Italian, have provided access to the sea for centuries, fostering maritime trade and exploration. The Mediterranean Sea, nearly enclosed yet rich with connections, acted as a cradle of ancient commerce, linking Europe with Africa and Asia and setting the stage for shared technologies and ideas. 2. A cradle of Western civilization and philosophy. Ancient Greece and Rome are often described as the twin pillars of European civilization. Greek thinkers such as Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle pioneered systematic philosophy, ethics, and logic. Democratic principles were tested in the city-state of Athens, influencing political thought to this day. Rome contributed law, engineering, and administrative structures that still underpin many European legal systems. The Roman concept of citizenship and codified law spread across the continent and survived in various forms even after the empire fell. The Renaissance, beginning in 14th century Italy, revived classical learning and fused it with new scientific inquiry, propelling Europe into an era of extraordinary artistic and intellectual achievement. Figures like Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo embodied a humanistic worldview that celebrated both divine and earthly pursuits. This cultural flowering laid the groundwork for modern science, literature, and political theory. 3. The patchwork of languages and cultures. Europe is home to more than 200 indigenous languages, grouped into several major families: Indo-European, including Romance, Germanic, Slavic, Celtic, and Hellenic branches; Uralic, Turkic, Despite globalization, many minority languages, Basque, Breton, Sami, Welsh, continue to thrive or undergo revival. The coexistence of so many tongues reflects centuries of migration and state formation. Cuisine also mirrors this diversity. From the olive oil-rich diets of the Mediterranean to the rye breads and smoked fish of the Baltic, food tells stories of climate, trade, and history. Festivals such as Spain's La Tomatina, Germany's Oktoberfest, and the numerous midsummer celebrations across Scandinavia express regional identities that remain vibrant even in an integrated European Union. 4. The Enlightenment and the birth of modern science. The 17th and 18th centuries witnessed Europe's Enlightenment, a period emphasizing reason, empiricism, and skepticism of absolute. Thinkers like Voltaire, Rousseau, and Kant debated human rights and the nature of government. Simultaneously, scientists such as Isaac Newton, Galileo Galilei, and Robert Hooke laid the groundwork for modern physics, astronomy, and biology. Institutions such as the Royal Society in England and the French Academy of Sciences fostered a culture of experimentation and peer review, practices still central to global science. The Enlightenment's emphasis on education and rational discourse spurred reforms in law, economics, and governance, influencing revolutions in America and France and reshaping the modern world. 5. Europe's Age of Exploration and Global Impact. Beginning in the 5th–10th century, European sailors ventured beyond the continent's shores. Portuguese navigators like Vasco da Gama charted routes around Africa to India. Christopher Columbus, sailing under the Spanish flag, crossed the Atlantic. Dutch merchants built trade networks spanning Asia and the Americas. These voyages ushered in an era of global exchange of goods, ideas, and unfortunately, diseases and colonial domination. European empires reshaped economies and societies worldwide. The Columbian Exchange introduced crops such as potatoes, maize, and tomatoes to Europe while spreading European livestock and wheat to the Americas. The darker legacies include the transatlantic slave trade and the exploitation of indigenous peoples, consequences that continue to influence global relations today. 6. The Industrial Revolution and Economic Transformation. In the late 18th century, Europe, particularly Britain, became the birthplace of the Industrial Revolution. Steam engines, mechanized textile production, and later electricity revolutionized manufacturing and urban life. Cities like Manchester, Birmingham, and later the Ruhr Valley in Germany grew rapidly as centers of industry. Railroads knit the continent together, enabling faster movement of goods and people. This transformation brought unprecedented wealth, but also social upheaval, crowded cities, harsh working conditions, and environmental degradation. Political movements from socialism to trade unionism emerged in response, reshaping the political landscape. Europe's industrial might also fueled imperial ambitions, setting the stage for both cooperation and conflict in the 19th and 20th centuries. 7. Two world wars that redefined the continent. The 20th century was marked by two devastating global conflicts that began in Europe. World War I, 1914 to 1918, stemmed from complex alliances, nationalism, and imperial rivalries, leading to unprecedented casualties and the collapse of empires, Austro-Hungarian, Ottoman, Russian, German. The Treaty of Versailles, attempted to redraw borders but sowed seeds of resentment. World War II, 1939 to 1945, brought even greater. Nazi Germany's aggression and the Holocaust remain among history's darkest chapters. The war's end left Europe divided between Western democracies and Eastern communist states under Soviet influence, setting off the decades-long Cold War. These wars profoundly shaped European identity, fostering movements for unity and reconciliation. 8. The European Union. Experiment in supranational governance. In response to the devastation of war, European nations sought closer cooperation. The 1951 European Coal and Steel Community evolved into the European Economic Community, and eventually the European Union, EU. Today the EU includes 27 member states, post-Brexit, sharing a single market and, for 20 countries, a common currency, the euro. The EU has created unprecedented freedom of movement for people, goods, and services. It also serves as a powerful bloc in global trade and diplomacy. Yet challenges persist. Debates over sovereignty, migration, economic disparity, and democratic accountability continue to shape the Union's future. 9. A leader in environmental and social policy. Europe has become a global leader in environmental sustainability. The EU's Green Deal aims for climate neutrality by 2050, with ambitious targets for renewable energy and emissions reduction. Countries like Denmark and Germany invest heavily in wind and solar power, while Norway leads in electric vehicle adoption. Social policies, universal health care, strong labor protections, and robust welfare systems also distinguish many European states. While not uniform, these policies reflect a shared commitment to balancing market economies with social safety nets, offering a model studied worldwide. 10. Europe in the 21st century. Challenges and opportunities. Today, Europe faces complex challenges: demographic shifts, technological change, security threats, and the ongoing need to integrate diverse populations. Migration from conflict zones and climate-affected regions tests the continent's humanitarian and political frameworks. At the same time, Europe remains a hub of innovation, culture, and diplomacy. Cities like Berlin, Paris, and Stockholm are centers for technology startups and green innovation. Cultural exports from fashion in Milan to film in Cannes continue to influence global trends. Europe's ability to blend deep historical roots with forward-looking policies will determine its role in shaping the 21st century world order. Closing reflection. Across these 10 broad facts, one theme recurs: Europe's outsized influence despite its modest size. Geography fostered diversity. Intellectual traditions encouraged inquiry. Conflicts led to reinvention. From ancient philosophers to modern climate scientists, Europeans have continually redefined their societies while interacting with the wider world. Thanks for joining me on this cinematic journey through Europe. If you enjoyed these facts, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more movie magic.